This shit is hard work. It's really this whole house, everything you see here is funded by about 7 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and never stopping, never giving up, traveling through the snow and traveling in freezing climates and traveling through the desert and going from place. It was tons of fun and experienced a lot of things, but it was not easy.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new day and a brand new vlog here in the Philippines. So today is going to be a very interesting day. As you have watched my previous video, or in one of my previous video, we did a insane tour of the tiny house Siargao. So this is a tiny house Siargao, and the reason you always see this house on the vlog, because this is a house of my friend who is a foreigner in the Philippines, who have decided to build his dream house, at least his dream house for now. So he's the man, Buhay ni Ta. So this is Ta right here. For those of you guys who don't know Ta, Ta is the founder or owner of the Traveling Clan, and he have a new channel called Buhay ni Ta, where he's doing all of his Filipino contents. But we are featuring the tiny house here, and today, ladies and gentlemen, just before we go forward, and we're going to be discussing what actually inspired Taz to leave the US to build his dream house in the Philippines. And I know you want to know like what inspired him, and he's going to be telling us some stories. So we're going to be asking a lot of questions, but make sure to stay tuned. And it's me and your boy Success. I do travel videos around the Philippines and so on around the world. If you want to stay tuned for all of my travels around the Philippines, make sure to smash that subscribe button, and welcome to the vlog. Let's dive right into it. So yeah, what's up, my man? How are you, man?
You can't catch me.
I can catch you.
You can't catch me.
Bro, you know I'm a fast runner than you, man. I'm a soccer player.
You're probably a little bit faster than me.
Not little, man. Bro, I could run faster than you.
Comparing this body?
No, but I could run faster than you, and I could run longer than you. Like if we were running
should
for
I go home? Should I leave?
You're already home.
Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Alright guys, so this is Mental right here. Ty is a very good friend of mine. He's an Israeli American. I'm from Africa / Jewish.
The Jewish African.
Approve?
Yeah, approved by me for
man.
sure.
Yeah, so I've been on the island for 2 weeks, and I can tell you I'm a complete Israeli right now. I'm a Jew, and I am learning Hebrew already.
You remember Sababa, Balagan?
Yeah, and
Hummus, Yalla.
Shalom, and boy.
Very good.
Yeah, like come here. All right, that's not the topic of today's video. Dude, I'm very curious, man. First of all, introduce yourself, like formally, not informally. Like introduce yourself. Where you from? Yeah, formally.
Well, come, let's go a little bit in the shade because we're gonna melt here. But my name's Tal. I'm a YouTube video creator. I've been traveling around the world for the last 8 years. The last 3 or so since the pandemic have been mostly in the Philippines, while I've had a chance to travel a little bit around the country as well and other countries. I've been mostly based on this small island called Siargao in the southeast of the Philippines near Mindanao. And during the time that I was living here on the island during the pandemic, I had the idea of securing myself a lot of land by leasing it from a local, and then building a house on it and trying to turn it into my dream house, and also some place I can rent while I'm gone, just to recoup some of the costs of building the house.
Yeah, just before we dive in this dream house, or I'm really jealous right now in a good way. I'm really jealous in a good way. Like I'm also thinking about, okay, why can't I have a land here, some days, or build a little house, so that whenever you come to the island in Siargao, okay. But before we go into that, what I want to know is that, when was the first time you came to Siargao?
I visited Siargao for the first time in January 2020, like right before the pandemic began.
Right before the pandemic.
I was here in one of the peak tourism waves of Siargao's history. It was like going to be one of the biggest seasons of tourism in Siargao.
All right.
And then the pandemic started trickling in China, and people started, watching the news and seeing what was going on. Countries started shutting down, and I had the idea of staying here and like setting up shop here for a little while.
So did you choose to stay here, or you go straight here?
Well, I initially chose to stay in the Philippines because it's a country that I already knew. I used to live in Manila in 2018 before I continued traveling around the world.
All right.
And so I had really, really good friends here who lived in the north of the island, Borja and Daphne, which you guys have seen in a previous vlog. And I decided to just stay here. I kept a lot of my stuff in their house, and I was like, I'll just stay in the Philippines. I'll travel around Mindanao a little bit, and we'll see what happens with this pandemic. Everybody thought it was going to be something small. And then I found my way back here in May 2020, and then I was stranded, but like happily stranded here.
Okay.
It didn't make sense for me to go back to Israel. It didn't make any sense to go back to America because both countries were dealing with massive waves of coronavirus. And here in the Philippines, really the only bad places to be for COVID were Cebu and Manila, and maybe Davao, but even Davao handled it pretty well. In Siargao, especially in General Luna, there was like no cases for a very long time. And so I just happily stayed here. I was able to surf. I had the island to myself with a very small group of friends, a lot of which were Israeli. And it was amazing. It was one of the coolest periods of my entire life.
All right. So, hearing the story of you staying in Siargao, you go. So, technically, you got stranded here. You actually decided to stay in the Philippines.
I stranded myself.
Yeah, but not in Siargao.
No,
Like,
I mean, I knew I was gonna come back to Siargao, but while the pandemic was just beginning, and it wasn't so serious yet, there weren't face shields or face masks, or there weren't any regulations yet. I was traveling around Mindanao. I went to Davao, I went to Cagayan de Oro, I went to Cotabato. I was just traveling around the island of Mindanao, and I got stuck in Cagayan de Oro the morning of the lockdown on March 17th, 2020.
All right. So when you got stuck in Siargao, what actually make you to fall in love with Siargao, like the island that today you have decided to build a house here? Was there something special that you really love about this island that actually like push you to build a house here?
So funnily enough, I always tell people this story. Ironically enough, when I first came to Siargao, I came to General Luna, and I was here for maybe 4 or 5 days when there were so many tourists here. And I absolutely hated it. I was like, this is horrible. This is the worst of what tourism is. There's too many tourists, there's too many parties, everything's expensive. There's like, I can't find anything to eat proper. It was just difficult to travel around here. And again, it was so expensive. And then I traveled up to the north of the island. I went to Pacifico and Burgos and Alegria where my friends were living, and I was like, this is what I was looking for. Small community, cool vibe. And then when I returned back to General Luna after the pandemic had begun, when all the tourists left and it was just some people who decided to stay here and local Filipinos, I fell in love. Because it was getting to experience what this island was like probably 20 to 30 years ago when there were 0 tourists. We had the surf breaks to ourselves, the tourist attractions to ourselves. We could do whatever and whenever we wanted to do because it was very relaxed here with the rules, because it's a very far away province and it's hard to enforce things here. And I just had the time of my life. I fell in love with the community of people who live here. And these are the same people who survived the pandemic together and survived the typhoon together. And I fell in love with the nature here. The island is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been on planet Earth. There's surf lines and reefs lining the whole island. There's tons of animals, tons of wild, tons of jungle everywhere. And just traveling around the island, driving around in my tuk-tuk that's parked right over there. Okay. I just had the time of my life. I really, really, really enjoyed it here.
So this is the most important question for today that I thought of last night, and I was like, I think I need to ask my friend Tara to actually share his experience with people who wants to come to the Philippines, who wants to come to Siargao, because there are a lot of you guys watching the vlog from England, from the US and different part of the world, and you want to come to Siargao, you want to come to the Philippines, right? So now he has actually built a house in the Philippines, so he has a lot of experience. And before we go through his experiences or some things that he already said in the previous vlog, I want to know that what actually inspired you after you have fell in love with Siargao to actually consider this place as a home and build a house, because it's not just easy to build a house. It's going to cost you a lot of money, the process and the hassle and everything. So if you want to do it, you really got to be inspired by something. You really got to have that inspiration. You need to have passion for what you are doing. So I'm really curious, like, what really pushed you to actually build a house? Not because there are a lot of people staying here, right?
Yeah,
there are a lot of people staying in Siargao. You can be a resident without building a house here, because you could go to the barangay. Last time I was here, they invited me to go get a residence permit of Siargao, but I didn't want to get it at the time. You could be a resident here.
Why? You should have gotten it. Yeah. I have it.
Yeah, you have it, right? But now building a house is something really like wow. So
it's a big step. Yeah.
All right.
For me, there was 2 things in my life. In 2019, I moved to Sri Lanka for a little while. I was there for around 4 or 5 months. And it was the first time after traveling for around 6 years where I ever took a break and built a community around myself. I was living in the offices of a tuk-tuk rental company with tons of other people from Sri Lanka and Australians and Americans, and it was the most amazing experience because I built a community, I built friendships. For me, I was so used to for years to just say hi to people in a hostel and goodbye after 2-3 days of traveling, after 2 weeks, and it's just been this constant motion of like hi bye for years. And when I lived in Sri Lanka, it was the first time I was actually able to build a community around myself and make friendships that were deep, learn people's lives, get into their hearts, really understand that feeling, that emotion, which I denied myself for years. And so after I left Sri Lanka and came to the Philippines, I was craving to find something like that. I was craving to find a community to nestle into, people to fall in love with, people to be with all the time, maybe find a relationship, things like that. I was really looking to live like a human being again. And I found it here, not on purpose. I just found it by accident. 2 of my closest friends on planet Earth live here on the island, who I used to live with in Manila. Their names are Borja and Daphne, and have a resort in the north of the island called Izustari. And they just started building that resort, so they invited me to come check out the island and see it through their eyes. And when I saw it through their eyes, they introduced me to their friends, and I found my own friends, and I really just fell in love with the community that was here. And when I started finding and meeting the people who I knew were going to stay here for the long term, like Borja and Daphne, like my friend Sar from Happiness and Goodies, who I knew were going to be here for a long time, like my friend Philip, I decided for myself, I was like, I would like to have a base here as well. I had money that I saved up from working on YouTube for so long that I had never invested in anything at all. I never made any sort of investment. I was just holding on the money, hoping to support my mom and my family members. And I wanted to invest this money into something that would make sense, maybe in the long term, whether it was investing in a lease on the land or building a house or renting it as an Airbnb, something like that. And I found the opportunity to lease this plot of land in the island, and I decided this seems like a perfect opportunity to try to do something with my money, to try to do something with the money that I worked so hard to receive. Maybe I could reinvest this money and also have a home for myself somewhere in the world. Because I've been traveling nomadically for so long, I have nothing. I don't really have many possessions. I have a few dinosaur collections back at home in Miami that are things that I hold dear to and are also part of a business investment that I'm doing. But other than that, in my house in the US, I just have a room in my parents' house, something small with not a lot of things. I don't own a car. I don't really own anything. So I wanted to invest my money in something that makes sense, you know, and I saw this land during the pandemic at a good price to me, as an opportunity to maybe invest in myself, invest in this island, build something, and really be a part of this community here in Siargao.
All right, so that's amazing, man. I'm also a YouTuber. We know how much how hard it is to actually make money off YouTube, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys watching the video don't understand. There are differences between people who do YouTube, like YouTubers. There are differences. I know you watch videos of people who just sit in their houses and create videos, right? I mean, literally people sit behind their decks and create videos.
Yeah.
People dance and shake, yeah, you know, and make money. But we are not doing that. We are travel YouTubers. So the meaning of travel YouTuber is that if I earn like $100 on YouTube, I spend $100 to travel.
Yep.
My flight from here to Manila is gonna cost me $100, right?
The thing is, for travel YouTubers like Success and I, there are people that you see on YouTube who are travel YouTubers who they blow up and instantly have a lot of money and fame, and they're able to afford all the things. But there's a whole other reality. A majority of people who do this are not millionaires, don't have thousands of dollars. Every video you work is food in your mouth.
Yeah.
Every video that you make is an accommodation for the night.
Travel.
And unless you have tons of sponsors and tons of help from the outside, this shit is hard work. It's really this whole house, everything you see here is funded by about 7 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and never stopping, never giving up. Traveling through the snow and traveling in freezing climates and traveling through the desert and going from place. It was tons of fun and experienced a lot of things, but it was not easy. I broke my back building this house and getting the money to build this house. I worked my ass off in any way possible, doing any job, doing any sponsorship, filming any video potentially to try. It's sleepless nights, it's long hard days, it's throwing up on cargo ships, it's getting sick in the weirdest and scariest places in the world. It's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. It's an amazing job, but the last thing in the world that it is easy.
It's easy.
And we're not blaming anybody. We chose this lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's an amazing lifestyle. But For anybody who thinks that this is easy or that building this house and getting the money to build this house came like this, everything that cost me money here, I cry a little bit on the inside because I see years of work just going away. You know, it's like years of work being invested into something else.
This is getting emotional, bro.
I'm gonna cry.
No, for real, man. It's getting emotional, man.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
you know,
real, the whole process
just hearing your story and everything you're saying right now is really getting emotional, and it's not easy to make money on YouTube. We are not complaining. This is a lifestyle we have chosen,
Right.
and for me, I've chosen this lifestyle to do it for the rest of my life. And I have people, I'm lucky to have people to support me like him. Ty is my friend who's he's a bigger YouTuber than me. He has supported me in a lot of ways. Financially, I've been on Siargao Island for the very first time in my entire life. At this age, I haven't paid for food for myself for 2 weeks, accommodation and everything, transportation. Imagine on Siargao. If you want to travel to Siargao for 2 weeks, calculate your budgets. Like just calculate your budget you could spend here in 2 weeks in Siargao. But I'm not paying any of those things, you know. I'm being like taken care of by my good friend here, Tar. He's been doing everything for me, everything from breakfast, lunch, dinner, every day, snacks, ice creams.
But you know, the only reason I'm able to do, and I didn't ask Success to say any of this stuff.
No, of course, man.
But like
if you asked me to say it, I won't say it, man. But I'm saying it from my heart.
I know, I can see. And the only reason that I'm able to afford to do these types of things is because somebody did this for me in the past. You know, like this whole idea of helping another YouTuber out, somebody who's smaller than you, comes from a process of rinse and repeat, of keep it turning, keep it going, you know, pay it forward. That's the ideology. It's somebody does something like this for you, so you do it for somebody else, and hopefully the person you do it for does it for somebody else in the future as well.
Oh, you know, I'm not trying to cut you off. Last November, this dude here sent me 25,000 pesos, equivalent to 500 United States dollars, and told me like, Success, I want you to go travel. I just want you to go travel somewhere. And he named a few places he wanted me. He suggested. He didn't like. He was not pushing me like, you have to go here. He suggested a few places that I could go travel to. And he gave me like 500 United States dollars to go travel. I traveled and I made more than $1,000 from traveling there to to these places that he sent me. It's really amazing to have, you know, friends like these people in the world. Like you are a real hero, man. Do you know how many subscribers I gained from traveling from the trip you sent me to? Do you know how much I made on YouTube to help myself
that's the thing, is
and travel more?
We need to believe in each other. I've always been saying this since I started. When I started making travel vlogs, the people at the top were untouchable. You couldn't reach them. If you would send them a message or you could send them a DM, they would never respond because they were so bigger than anyone else. They were the entrepreneurs. They were the first ones to break the ground in this industry. And I don't blame them, but their noses were up in the air. Like if you tried to reach out to them, it was impossible. I've been saying this since I came up, and luckily, God bless the people who came up with me on YouTube, my community who started travel vlogging the same time I did. I feel like we're the most attainable and the most reachable generation of travel vloggers. If you send us a message, most likely we will respond. Yeah. Most likely we will support.
I remember I was under like 1,000 subscribers, and then I sent him a message. He responded to my DM. I was like, wow. So I mean, I think that's where like all of the love for you, you know, started building up in my heart. And since then, I really love him. Not because he helped me or he did something for me, but even before that, we took 2 years, like 2 years.
Yeah,
I was chatting. Chatting, you know, and without him doing something for me, or without me doing something for him, I've never done anything for him, by the way.
Yes, you have.
No.
You've done plenty.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So, I mean, we are just, you know, trying to encourage you guys and inspire you guys. You know, you want to travel, you have a lot of excuses. Yeah. You know, I can do this. You can do it. You can do whatever you want to do if you put your minds to it. He asked me today, Success, because I was showing him pictures of me playing soccer and stuff. He asked me, did you ever believe that you could be at 50,000 subscribers today? You know, having more than 4 million, almost 5 million views on social media, and you know, people watching your vlogs and whatever. For real, guys, I never thought I would ever be here. I showed him one of my very first video I did. It was horrible. I was hiding, like I was trying to hide the phone from him, but he said, "Can I see it?" And, yeah. So just before we go, Do you want to send a message out there to people? What's the message you want to send? And also, what is your next plan for the house? Like, what are you gonna do with the house after like you are done 100% with this
Okay,
house?
so as of the house, which I'm very excited about, Success was our first guest in the tiny house Siargao.
Yeah.
The idea of bringing Success here was to beta test the house, right? We wanted to see what were the problems, how was it like to host somebody, especially an influencer like Success. I wanted a content creator here to use the kitchen, to use the yard, to use the place, use the space to create content. And I feel like this whole testing phase was a massive success. You were able to create tons of videos here in Siargao. I was able to show you the island, and using this place as our base was comfortable, it was relaxing, it was fun. So now that we've tested this place, we're gonna do a little bit more work just prepping the entire space up. We're probably going to be renting this over the course of the next few months to a few friends and family members who come through the island. And then hopefully at some point in 2023, we'll launch the property on Airbnb or as just a private booking to booking place where people can actually stay and experience this house. Again, the house is supposed to be a solution for content creators to enjoy their space in Siargao. Whether you want to come and make local cooking videos, you have an amazing kitchen that's fully equipped. Whether you want to make videos on the inside, charge your devices, edit, work, do yoga, whatever you want to do, this house is a small space that should be affordable and also a place where you can create and let your dreams in Siargao come alive. That's the idea. So hopefully very soon we'll be able to launch and open the doors to anybody who's willing to come. And if I have a message to somebody when it comes to travel content creation or getting out there trying to make your dreams alive, I would just say the people that you meet, especially on the road, and Success can vouch for this, those are the people who are going to uplift you and bring the best out of you, you know. And you don't even know who's waiting out there for you to meet. You have no idea. Success took a risk by sending me a message, you know, took a risk on his ego, took a risk that I might not respond, but I responded and we built a huge connection together. And through that, I've been able to see him grow on his channel and grow on his content, partly by me, partly by his own design, you know, partly by his own willpower to go out and do things. But that's the whole point of this. If I didn't have people who believed in me while I was on the road and believed in what I was trying to do, what I was trying to put into the world, I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't have any of this. It's through people who believed me and uplifted me and wanted me to get out there and see me really succeed that I was able to succeed. And you don't know who's waiting for you out there in the world. So the best idea that I could give, or the best suggestion I could give, is just go for it. Go out there and get it done. Don't think too much. Don't try to plan too much. Go for it. Worst case, it doesn't work out. That's the worst case. And I know it's kind of a privileged thing to say. Not everybody can do this. But if you have even a little bit of belief in yourself, or a little bit of an ounce of a feeling that maybe you can succeed, go for it and try and see what happens.
All right guys, so that's it for today. And as always, thanks for watching this video to this far. And we don't have much to say. We just want to encourage you guys, go for it today, go for it tomorrow. No, don't go for it tomorrow. I don't like people who always be like, tomorrow I'm gonna do it.
Yesterday.
Go for it yesterday. All right guys, we love you. And just before you go, check down in the description below. I'm gonna leave a link to Buhay Nita. Make sure to subscribe to his new channel and support my boy. And if you want to stay tuned for updates on the house, the process of building this house from scratch, like from scratch to finish, and you want to, you know, just watch all of the documentary, just go to Buhay Nita, support Tara right here on his new Filipino YouTube channel. Yeah. And I love you, bro. See you on Buhay Nita.
See you soon.
So that's it guys, your boss Success right here. And make sure to smash that subscribe button for your boss Success if you're new here. And if you've been supporting, I want to say a big thanks to you guys who have been supporting. Don't forget to drop that super thanks to help me travel more around the Philippines and around the world. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a special announcement. We're going to be taking this international in few weeks from now.
Oh my God.
So wish me good luck.
Oh my God.
Love you guys. Peace.